Hello and welcome to the A. Carlson Literary Review Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. I am your host, A. Carlson. Just one of them. Could be any one of probably a bunch. I feel like, although I haven't met all that many Carlsons in my life, I see the name in funny places. Like, I was up in Vermont, and I was at this place, and I got a bagel. It was a very, very good bagel, but they had apple cider there, which is a cultural staple of the regional Northeast, and the brand was Carlson's apple cider, Carlson Orchards, which is funny because I see things like that, and part of my oh gee whiz, part of my brain goes, maybe I should go over there, hey, I'm related, we got the same name, give me some free cider, but it's alright. It's funny, family. It's an interesting thing because it's got less to do with names or blood or any of that fun stuff, and I figure it's probably got the most to do with just how the people you're with treat you. So I'm drinking some coffee and some water. It's 11:18 in the morning, so it's a good time of day. I woke up earlier than I probably should have, considering how late I was awake, but I was awake pretty late because I got back home to my house in Pennsylvania for the first time in a couple days, and my kid sister decided she wanted to go out to her friend's house, and my parents, seizing the opportunity to go to bed at a reasonable hour and not have to play carpool with a teenage girl, asked me to pick her up, which, I got up at 5 yesterday, and I drove in my car for 9.5 hours from Richmond, Vermont to my house in Orwigsburg. I'm still yawning. And it's 11:20 in the morning, and I'm still yawning. So let's get right into it. Okay. I gotta wake up. So, first things first, we have oh Jesus! Oh, I ate so much. Alright, so first things first, we have a couple poems that I will be reading. I hope that I'm going to be doing them justice. I have not read them before this moment. They were sent to me by a dear friend who wishes to remain anonymous. And the interesting thing about poetry for me is that I like almost all of it. There's a couple poems I'm not crazy about, but most of my criticism exists as a reflection of my own kind of stylistic choices and how dumb I think they are when other people do them, like modernists in general. I had a pretty long conversation with a couple academic types that I'm particularly fond of, and through the process of just kind of ironing out my own thoughts, I kind of realized that basically my gripes with modernism being oriented in this proposed elitist kind of it's here's what the modernists did. They wrote these poems, and throughout the poems they would just reference really, really, really obscure like books and other poems, and it was kind of like this it was like a literary dick measuring contest of like who's really down with like the coolest stuff. So for me, that's frustrating because like I don't give a shit about Othello, which is funny. I've been saying that a lot, and I haven't even read the book. I don't even know what it's about, or if it even is a book. But readings for chumps. It's just allowing somebody else to influence your brain with their words. It's like mental manipulation that we enter into willingly, except instead of the auditory delight of the cadence of someone's voice, we are left with words on a page. But I am no wise man, and I am certainly no better than this. So let's begin with the first poem. Older Brother. Older brother is two things, wise beyond his years and stupid as a rock. If a young woman you have the fortune of having... I fucked it up already. If as a young woman you have the fortune of having an older brother, you have graduated to motherhood early. Older brother is a charmer, a life connoisseur. His famous last words will be, "It's fine." The 70-foot cliff looks too high to jump into the shallow-looking water below. It's fine. The car only has 20 miles left of gas, but the nearest gas station is 30 miles away. The car is fine. You can't seem to find your little sister in a crowd of people. She'll be fine. He's made a bad investment and potentially ruined his young adult life. I'll be fine. It would be one thing if the words were full of stoic assurance, but they're said with cheeky confidence, paired with a laugh and a twinkle in the eye. As he winks and leaps into the air, coasts downhill, foot off the brakes, finds an 8-year-old girl, learns from his mistakes. You find him by the sound of a whistled tune. He finds you by the sound of crying, sniffling. Don't worry, be happy, he says in a sing-song voice. Okay, thanks. Everything's better now. He kneels at the foot of your bed, anxious that everyone is not as happy as him. With 3 sisters, he is a quiet advocate who keeps the peace among us, stepping on the toes of your motherhood. She needs to learn respect. It's gonna be fine. I already told her she couldn't. It'll be fine. We should tell Mom and Dad. They'll be fine. Older brother doesn't understand this makes you look sinister. He doesn't understand a lot of things, like why you're with that dirty piece of trash, that awful human being you deserve so much better than. He'll never understand, like how you'll never understand what you've taken from him. Robbing the oldest of their single childness is a crime often resented. If resentment exists, I cannot see it. Older brother is two things, the strongest man you know, and in need of protection. If as a young woman you have the fortune of having an older brother, you will compare men to him forever. Older brother is a friend, a listener, just a boy. Well, a message to my anonymous donor. That poem was really, really nice to read. By the time I got to the end of it, it made perfect sense. But I will not lie to you. Snap judgments started kicking in around the second stanza. So within the first stanza you introduce older brother is a charmer, a life connoisseur. His famous last words will be, "It's fine." And then within the first line of the second stanza, the 70-foot cliff looks too high to jump into the shallow-looking water below. It's fine. That sounds good, because it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. The car only has 20 miles left to gas, nearest gas station. The car is fine. She'll be fine. I'll be fine. It just seems like you're trying to incorporate, some type of repetition, which can often help where works like this, where like you're talking about the consistency and always theredness of someone that you really, really love. And so you try to establish like consistency and presence throughout the work by basically establishing like a motif. Because somebody saying like it's fine, like that tells you something not only about them, but also about like what they're going through and their perspective on it. But more so about them, I think, because there's a lot of folk like where it's never fine, and that ain't all that fun. So the thing for me is like, it hits really hard. Famous last words will be it's fine. And then again, you'd say down later in the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8th stanza. It's gonna be fine, I'll be fine, or it'll be fine, they'll be fine. Again, I feel like, like the way that you write it, it obviously makes sense because you're keeping it real. And like, because you're anonymous, I do not know you. But like, if I'm gonna make some snap judgments about the type of person that the older brother is, basically, I can't imagine that he's only saying it's fine, because that's kind of like dismissive. Oh, it's fine. But the car's fine. She'll be fine. I'll be fine. The common theme is fine. So maybe his famous last words will be fine, but that kind of makes it sound like he's surrendering rather than and surrendering through acceptance, which isn't a bad way to go. But even so, you could say like. You could say anything you want. This is your poem. But if I were you, I would change every little quotation to it's fine. Because actually, I think that would change the tone. I think that somebody who says it's fine to everything is probably not applying like the most amount of care. But there's like these subtle differences where like because there's a focused and attention to detail applied to the detail of every potential conflict that is undoubtedly causing the author a great deal of stress. The attention to literally like the subject, like the car only has 20 miles left, the nearest gas station is 30 miles away. The car is fine. You can't seem to find your little sister in a crowd of people. She'll be fine. He's made a bad investment and potentially ruined his young adult life. I'll be fine. So it's like not it's fine like it's fine, don't worry, it's fine, like some needlessly complicated individual who's trying to make your life really, really, really difficult just for the sake of trying to feign like they're not interested in putting their problems on you. That's a real phenomenon that real people do, and that's like an extremely toxic trait and behavior that I've experienced, And like sometimes I feel like people are for real about like not wanting to make their problems your problems, but I feel like somebody who's going to like actively convey how discomforted they are with their own situation by communicating that discomfort through like every element of the projection of their voice except for the words is probably playing a fucking game, and I hate people who play games. So I like that. Oh God, 2 slices of avocado toast and 3 fried eggs and a slice of peanut butter. Absolutely incredible breakfast to start my day with. Anyway, yeah, I like that poem. Pretty good. And then in the end, it kind of ties itself back pretty well to the central thing. I think the only other thing I might tell you to do is just like play around with the structure, because you can add like line breaks in there, and like you can make the messages deeper by fucking around with line breaks. Like, I don't really have any I don't really have any great examples. But I like, you know what, I really like that if as a young woman you have the fortune of having an older brother, you have graduated to motherhood early. I really, really, really like what that says about the author's connection to his/hers/they/thems/ their connection to their family. I think that that's a really, really beautiful thing, because it's like, you know, like, you're a kid, you're like, that's my older brother, but then I think, like, there's something beautiful about, like, looking at someone who should hypothetically be your role model and be affording you, like, great experience and whatnot, and still wanting to take care of them. I think that that's a really, really powerful sentiment of love. So, all in, that poem was, you know, I think that you can tighten it up. I'm going to be real. I think that you can tighten it up. And when you tighten it up, it'll be a 10 out of 10. And right now, it's not even bad. So, I'm in between 7 and 8. 7.5. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. If you tighten that up, though, for real, that'll be a 10 out of 10. So, you know, whatever that means for you, just make it real. Alright, second poem from the same anonymous donor. Mile marker 5. It is not fair that every time that song comes on, a flood of memories fills my mind of nothing but you. A crash of waves, an extended hand, your lips on my hair. Gentle. It's not fair that every time I drive over train tracks I have to lift my feet off the ground because you said it was bad luck if they stayed glued to the car floor like I was glued to you. It's not fair that I have done nothing but hop in my car and drive thousands of miles to you, and you tell me that you cannot meet me in Charlotte because the 3-hour drive is too long. It is not fair that every blank thought becomes written on by empty promises, reminders that I am forgettable, that I am replaceable, that I am not enough to keep you around. It is not fair that I could forget myself remembering details about you so that I can make the world an easier place for you, so that I can show you off and surprise you and steal your breath away. It is not fair that the way I look at you with adoration and tender eyes is mirrored by egotistical pride and, is that annoyance? It is not fair that I am apologizing for being myself while you do not even know my own self. It is not fair that all these words have left my mouth and all this breath has filled the air in the name of you, and you do not even care. Anger! Oh! Alright. That is powerful. That last little yell there, that was not part of the poem. That was my immediate response to this totally anonymous story about someone I don't know. Yeah, you do some really interesting stuff with the actual form of this. You're like breaking it up into interesting little segments. You know, like all right, in the second stanza, that's kind of out of place, especially considering like how the rest of the poem feels like a crash of waves, an extended hand, your lips on my hair, gentle. I mean, I'm sure you know what you're talking about with that memory, but your lips on my hair, that's like pretty cool. It's not fair that every time I drive over train tracks, like I was glued to you. I mean, that's sweet. It's interesting that basically you keep falling back to the it's not fair, and then line break, and then something about like back to the point. It's like these memories are invading your mind, and then you're kind of like consciously stopping, and you're reconnecting with the reality of your pain, which is a difficult thing, really, to. Oh my God, it's a difficult thing to capture, I think, because you have to use the page, and you're doing a pretty good job of using the page. I think that the bitterness is it doesn't feel like bitter because you're not saying anything like particularly mean-spirited about what I'm sure is a wealth of just truly character demoralizing information you have about this individual. But it's like your pain is linked to your love being non-reciprocated, unrequited. Is that? Oh, let me Google that. Unrequited. Yeah, unrequited love. That is. That seems to be the source of the pain, and what I dare say even transcends to anger. Before becoming quizzical, and then ultimately assertive, and you do not even care. Very, very, very powerful. Takes a lot to write something like this. And if I knew you, I would say nothing's fucking fair. But clearly you're an anonymous donor, so I like this a lot. Yeah. 9 out of 10. The only thing that you could do better is, and I'm saying this just because I feel like I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't. I feel like I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't offer you at least 1 point of constructive criticism. Is that you do like all right, this very last like full line and then 3 line breaks. It's not fair that all these words have left my mouth and all this breath has filled the air in the name of you, and you do not even care. I think that, and just to explain how the line structure works to all you fine listeners, it is not fair that all these words have left my mouth, all this breath has filled the air. I would probably, there's no line break in the name of you. I would probably get rid of in the name of you. Because it hits harder without it. And you do not even care. And so that's and you. Well, all right, in the name of you, line break, and you do not, line break, even, line break, care, period. So it's like the assertion, the finality of the assertion. 9 out of 10, you can definitely, because that little thing I told you of just like tightening it, which I know I told you about the last one, because I'm ultimately not a good poetry critic. But I'm being serious that like when you talk about pain, you know, like there's this thing of like when you write it, like you're just getting it out because it's burning within you, and when you activate those feelings, like you really have to work through them pretty quickly. Otherwise, you can really sink pretty deep into it, and that's not a positive. But within the same right, like a lot of times, especially with poetry in general, but also poetry that relates to pain, which is some of the best poetry, it's that less is more. And that's because when you give the reader less, you allow them to project more openly onto what you write. And it's not even just like giving them less detail. It's like literally just like removing some of the extra fluff on the language. And it's not fair that every time that song comes on, a flood of memories fills my mind of nothing. And then I'd probably do line break. I'm actually going to edit this right now. Of nothing but you, right? So it's like of memories fill my mind of nothing. So like the first line is like, oh, like memories of nothing, that's weird. And then, oh wait, but you. A crash of waves, an extended hand, your lips on my hair, gentle. Paints a picture. Your lips on my hair. I don't really like that. Gives me a weird image of somebody, like you know how horses, you know, they do that shit with their lips, you know, when they like eat, and they like kind of flay them out. Imagining like somebody doing that to somebody's hair. That's like kind of funny, I guess. But it's not fair that every time I drive over train tracks, I have to lift my feet off the ground because you said it was bad luck if they stayed glued to the car floor. Because I have to lift my feet off the ground because you I'm just playing around with this right now. Like, it's not fair that every time I drive over the train tracks, I have to line break, lift my feet off the ground, line break, because you said it was bad, line break, luck if they stayed glued to the car floor, like I was glued to you. It's like when you play around with metrical breaks, ultimately, like you create a rhythm and a tempo, and you allow, especially when, because like when you read a poem, basically, like you read it line by line, and in between the transition to every line, even though it can be a particularly short amount of time, there's like snap judgments that the reader makes based off of the text and based off of what they read, and not just what they read looks like, but also like how it sounds in their inner voice, or if they're reading it out loud, how it sounds. And so like timing is very, very important to consider. And in a piece like this, I'd say that maybe if you set up the timing, you know, to seem more like in tune with to seem more in tune with the tempo of the thoughts, because it seems like again, the first, it's not fair that every time that song comes on, a flood of memories fills my mind of nothing but you. Crash of waves, extended hand, your lips on my hair, gentle. That's like present and then past, and then present and then past, and then present and then past, and then this thing you do here. It's not fair that every blank thought becomes written on by empty promises. That's pretty cool. reminders that I am forgettable, that I am replaceable, that I am not enough to keep you around. That's powerful too. That's extremely powerful. You should definitely... That doesn't need anything, I don't think. And it's not fair in a world... It's not fair that I can forget myself remembering details about you so that I can make the world an easier place for you, so that I can show you off and surprise you and steal your breath away. That's, I mean, you're saying, like, your intentions and how it's not fair that you didn't get to do them, but, hey, fucking shit sucks, sister. Like, sometimes you just gotta take it in stride, but I'm not out here trying to give you real relationship advice. I'm just trying to tell you that, so I can show you off and surprise you and steal your breath away. That, if you're not going to get rid of it entirely, should probably get spaced out in the same way that the whole forgettable, replaceable, not enough to keep you around thing is. But otherwise, I think that's a fucking great piece. 9 out of 10. Just make those adjustments, and for real, it's really, really good. Okay, and now it looks like I have a 3-page short story. This is fucking excellent, man. We're at 31 minutes. Hell yeah, what a great start to my day. I'm glad I'm doing this. Okay, so story 3 by an anonymous donor, a cool person. I would also like to take this moment. I'd like to take this brief intermezzo to say that to any and all of my listeners, please, please, please send me what you're writing. I literally do not care what it is. It could be journal entries. It could be, notes to a hypothetical somebody in your life. It could be emails. It could be poems or short stories or movie scripts or fucking anything, man. Just like I love to see what people are making, and fuck it, I'll read a thesis or a fucking dissertation, man. I'll read fucking anything. I'll fucking roast it. Not roast it. If it's good, I won't roast it. If it's good, I'll take it very seriously. But if it needs roasting, that's the thing. Is like bullying basically is bullies function as social watchdogs. Thank you, Sam Hyde, $1 Million Extreme World Peace. I got a text from my anonymous donor. Yeah, I'm having a birthday party August 21st. If you're listening to this right now, that means that you're a real fan, and that means that I love you. My birthday party is going to be August 21st in the evening at 325 West Market Street, Orwigsburg, Pennsylvania. I'm going to have a lot of very, very nice beer and very, very nice wine. And I've got a brick oven in my backyard. We're going to bake pizzas in the brick oven. And we're going to hang out. I might even try to get my hands on a hookah, like a really, really nice Egyptian one. And I think that, to me, it sounds like a really, really nice night. So if you're out here and you want to try to come over and hang out for the party, you don't even have to bring a gift. But, like, for real, your presence is a gift enough. If you're gonna spend it with me on my birthday, and also my best friend, life partner / wife, it's her birthday too. We have the same birthday, which is fucking very, very cool. Very, very happy about that. All right, back to the work. So, let's see. Number 3, grief is a thing with luggage. Jody stood perfectly still. Her left hand held the phone up to her ear, while her right was fiddling with the checkered table runner her sister had gotten her for Christmas last year. For some reason, the only thing she could think about was how she forgot to take it to the dry cleaners like she had said she would. She had guests coming at 6. Jody, are you there? Yeah, Mom, I'm here. Do you want me to book your flight? He doesn't have much time. The doctors are saying a day, maybe 2. Oh, he's awake and chatty right now, but he's not very coherent, Jody. He's not very coherent. Jody, this is the end this time. It's real. Death had been teasing Jody and her family for months. He would knock on the door and leave his bags, only to be gone by the morning, sparing her grandfather for another week, another month at first. She would drop everything to fly back home in case Death made his residence permanent. Nobody told her that Death had the capability of teasing. It had always been presented as final. She would feel relief flood through her when the unwanted guest would leave early. But over time, the game became uncertain, uninteresting, confusing. Her mom would call her, or maybe her brother, Jody, it's time. She felt guilty for doubting the voice on the other end of the line. But after the third, it's not looking good, Jody, her belief shifted. She had a life, a job, plans and prior engagements, and now she has guests coming at 6. Jody, are you okay? The truth was, she was numb to the idea of okay. Yeah. Mom, is it actually it this time? There was a pause on the other end of the line, something new to the routine of the call. Jody sighed. I know what you're thinking, but it really is it. Jody's breath caught in her throat. Okay, I'll book the flight. I'll see you as soon as I can. And Mom, I'm really sorry. Jody hung up and continued picking at the table runner. There was some dried crust on it, maybe from last night's get-together. I should call the girls. She looked at the phone in her hand. If this was 100 years ago, I'd probably be receiving this news by telegram. How would I have canceled dinner in time? She pondered the trivial thought and dialed the number of the first person she remembered was coming tonight. Hey, Liz. I'm so sorry, but my grandfather is passing away, and I'm going to need to cancel dinner tonight. Why was she apologizing for his death? Oh, Jody, is it real this time? Even her friends had begun to doubt Death. Yes, Mom sounded different when she told me. All of a sudden she felt her chest tighten. The reality of the difference of this phone call from her mother ripped through her heart. She had been avoiding Death's friend, grief. There was no need to feel something so powerful if it was only temporary, not real. But saying it out loud, too, Liz discovered the layers it had been hiding under. She felt its finger slide down her arms, reach into her gut. She didn't know it could be so physical. She didn't know grief had weight to it, could be measured in ounces on a scale, could make her heavier. Can you call the girls and cancel for me? I'll leave a key under the mat if you can come take care of the cats for me. Sure, Jody. If there's anything else I can do, just let me know, okay? Yeah. Jody hung up and packed her bags. She was on the first flight to New York. That's sweet. Sweet in a way where it captures, like, real feeling. And not just real feeling, but, like, straight up, personifying death is always an interesting thing. I feel like there's lots of literary texts that kind of want to do that. Like Appointment in Samara literally begins with somebody like just hanging out with death, I guess. But I like the idea of death's friend, grief. That's pretty heavy, and then to like communicate that weight. She didn't know grief had weight to it, could be measured in ounces on a scale. That's pretty cool. And the dialogue feels natural. Otherwise, that's pretty good. It's I really want to be generous to you, because I love you with my whole heart. I have so much love for you, so I want to be generous. And I think that you capture a feeling pretty well. I wish I wish that there was a continuation of the story. Like it seems like she's about to feel really bad, and then she just hangs up and packs her bags, and she's on the first flight to New York. Like, you know, you could dive deeper into that scene. Like, she canceled dinner, and like, you know, now she's got to pack her bags, but she's got to balance like this like materialistic compartmentalization of like basic necessity with the reality of the tremendous sadness that a close loved one is dying. That's like a powerful sort of balance, and I feel like you could definitely do something with that if you wanted to get deeper into the feeling. If not, I'm sure you could talk about what went on in New York just the same. So that one I'm gonna call 7 out of 10. Not bad. But this is a short story, and I'm going to be more critical of short stories because poems are abstracts, and so it's a lot harder to be critical of abstracts because even if I don't necessarily understand what you're getting at, I can definitely recognize that the feeling that you're attempting to capture is like substantive and real to you, whereas storytelling, I think, has some rules, or maybe not at all. But 7 out of 10 because it's not bad, but I think that you can do more with it. So, like, yeah, get deeper in there, man. I mean, you get that fucking. All of a sudden, she had been avoiding death's friend grief. The whole reaching into her gut. That's fucking heavy, dude. And like, you can definitely, like, if you can capture that in just a couple lines, you can definitely do stuff that's crazier than that. So, all right, another poem. Woo. We are 1 minute to high noon here in Origsburg, Pennsylvania. High noon is a great time for sitting outside and sipping lemonade. I don't have any lemonade. I do have some water. I'm going to drink some water. I haven't drank very much water today. It's part of the problem. Oh, I fucking love water. Alright. Entry 4. Anxiety. I hear my mother answer the phone. My body tenses, and I become aware of the heart in my chest. 2 seconds only. The cheery hello could be a facade. I hold my breath. Silence. A brief laugh. Good, how are you? Breathe out. All is well. Today. That's a quick one. That's a quick one, but it tells me a lot. And to the note of simplicity lending itself to the ability to capture emotion. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. 49 words. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 lines. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's a good job. 10 out of 10. Absolutely nothing I would change. Very good. Entry number 5. Oh, that was not entry number 5. That was entry number 1 this morning. That was my breakfast. Tasted even better that time. Whoa, I'm really burping. Alright. If I were a man, Entry number 5. If I were a man, my romanticism makes me the perfect lover. If I were a man, the world I live in allows me to expect to be treated like the only girl in the world, to be showered with affection and gifts and gentlemanly gestures. In my head lives the response to every action. I wait on inaction. Sigh. Is it something that can be taught, or should the ideal be laid to rest? If I were a man, I would be the perfect lover. My romanticism allows this. I wonder... Romanticism is a word. The state or quality of being romantic. Her sister would temper that romanticism with a large pinch of realism. Yeah. This is cute. This is cute, but not simple. My romanticism makes me the perfect lover, if I were a man. I like that. Because when I read it at first, I did not understand it. And then when I read the second stanza and third line, this world I live in allows me to expect to be treated like the only girl in the world, to be showered with affection and gifts and gentlemanly gestures. In my head lives the response to every action. I wait on inaction. I like that. Sigh. It's like, grappling with like old school, like traditional chivalric value is it's a difficult thing, because ultimately I think that there's something about real life that I think that chivalry, like the idea of defending the honor of someone that you care about, is not necessarily limited by gender. You can defend the honor of your brothers in the same way that you can defend the honor of your sisters, or your parents, or your children, or your lovers. But it's just having the courage to stand against... It's having the courage to stand against brutality and recognize that the power that you possess has an effective force of deterrence against degeneracy. And degeneracy manifests in many forms, but it almost never manifests in love. So you have to carry love in your heart in order to do this. And I think that if I were a man is like limiting, because like gender, which is a social and cultural construct totally isolated from biological sex, means that there is an immediate association with masculinity that, in this case, you are pairing with being not necessarily being the perfect lover, but just having having the capacity and propensity to be a perfect lover. To be showered with affection and gifts and gentlemanly gestures. I think that there's better ways to describe what you're looking for, that by saying, like, if I were a man, in the beginning makes sense and in the end makes sense. But everything in the middle could do more to communicate what exactly you think a man has to do. What exactly you think a man has to do to be worthy of this sort of romantic ideal. Just a general rule of thumb I've kind of experienced in my relationships is, generally, if you want generally, if you want something done to you, you have to kind of do it to whoever you want to do it to you. Like, that could be anything. I mean, that could be like hand holding or back rubs or small gestures of affection and kindness and love. Like, they go a long way, you know. And some people will take that love and they'll take it for granted, but that's like a given, you know. And there's always going to be people like that in the world. So, like, you know, if you want that energy, you just have to put it into the world. And like, lamenting the fact that it isn't coming to you is not necessarily doing really anything substantive to bring yourself closer to it. So I would say that if by this stretch you want chivalrous, generous men, then you should be a chivalrous and honorable lady. Or man. Or they, them. Which is something that I am going to try to drill into my brain, because when I was in Vermont, I accidentally misgendered a person, and I've never done that before. And I mean, I've like, you know, like I've made a lot of jokes. I've made a lot of jokes about like one of my favorite jokes that I think I've made about gender non-binary individuals is I was at Pace, Manhattan. I was on their campus. I was helping my friend move in to her dorm, and there was a little printer paper poster for their RA on the hall, and this you know, this interesting looking person, you know, they had like really beautiful elegant earrings on, and like a necklace that was like really like had some crazy kind of metal patterning all over where the pendants fell along the chest, and like well done hair, you know, good lines, and then they had like eyeshadow that was like blue shaded variant, and you know, they look good, man. I won't deny it. They look pretty good. But I'm like reading this, and you know, it's like, it's all cool, and then it says like their name and they, them under their name, and for me that like really kind of frustrates me, because I feel like a lot of the problems of the world are perpetuated by people trying to solve them, because basically like all right, if gender identity is the type of thing that we shouldn't take so seriously that we discriminate against people for it, which, like, to some level we all discriminate against everybody, but I think you understand what I'm getting at when I say this, then perhaps, you know, going out of your way to project your own gender identity within like the first little while of you, like if you have a poster introducing yourself and you say that you're they, them, are you not doing more to perpetuate a supposed necessity for projecting gender identity onto the world by assuming that everyone else wants to know or gives a shit in any capacity? Because, like, here's the thing. If I'm talking to somebody, you know, and they tell me, like, you know, I say, like, something about, because I only speak to people in directives or interrogatives, so I only ask questions and tell people what to do. I don't really, and maybe sometimes I share, but I share about myself. I don't make that about the person I'm talking to directly. And so usually I never refer to anybody I'm speaking to directly in like second or third person. But I want to have the I feel like Alright, well, let me tell the story. So I was in Vermont, and there's this person who's pretty cool, and they were cooking some food, and I told this person that they had really good taste in music, because they'd been playing music for like the entire time I was there, every time they were in the kitchen, and all the stuff they were playing was great, like Motown golden hits. And I was like, hey, you got like really good taste in music, you know? And they were like, oh, thank you, you know? And then my life partner, lover, is like, hey, what did you ask Sage, you know? And I'm like, or what did you say to Sage, you know? And I just said to her, I'm like still in the kitchen, you know, she's like still there, you know. Yeah, I gotta make the conscious effort. They're still there. And I say like, oh, well, I just told her that she has really good taste in music. And I didn't even think about it. Because it's not a big deal. But I felt immediately like, you know, my life partner, lover, lady, she's like, she comes up to me and she's very quiet. She's like, they, you know, and I could sense that, you know, in spite of the fact that for me, it, like, dude, if I was chilling and like somebody referred to me as like she or her, like I wouldn't be fucking hurt. I'd be like, oh, that's funny, I'm a man, you know, but also like, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But I could sense that this thing that I did was like a true. It brought pain to someone, you know, and so I don't want to bring pain to people, because it doesn't feel good for me to hurt people, especially when I don't believe that they've done anything that justifies hurting them. So I apologized profusely. I felt ashamed. I buried my face in my hands, and I said, oh, I feel terribly. I'm really, really sorry. I didn't mean to misgender you, you know. And they didn't say anything, which, like, you know, whatever. I didn't expect it. But the punchline is that, you know, that's like a social interaction where my mistake, my not even assumption, just like simple like vocabulary mishap, which happens all the time in worse ways than that, resulted in somebody feeling actually pain, like somebody actually having pain, you know? And for me, I felt ashamed, which is also a sense of pain. So it's like you look at a mistake and I don't know if it's a conscious decision. It's definitely not a conscious decision to be in pain, but it is a conscious decision to allow your pain to kind of be projected onto the outside world and expect other people to cater to it. And I'm not even saying that I wouldn't cater to it, because like I did, and I would do it again, because all people deserve respect, and if I want to get respect, I got to give it. So I'm down with that. Like that's a decent reality for me. But within the same right, like I think it might be beneficial to perhaps like move past the ideological assumptions we have created about appropriateness and gender, and I think that your poem, to bring it all back and to get off my little rambling high horse, your poem is really, really good, and I would probably like it if I were a woman. But if I were a woman, it's like, you know, if I were a man. Sigh. Very good poem. Very, very good poem. Very good poem. 8 out of 10. This would mean something powerful to someone, but for me, it just feels like Just feels like what it is. Which is a poem, and not a bad one at that. So, alright, yeah. Now we have an opportunity, as it were, to move away from the anonymous thing and towards something that someone will attach their name to. So, we have here totally isolated from the anonymous poems. We have here a collection of dreams that have been recorded and emailed to me by my friend, the great Mercy Isabel Fisher. So, dreams, no need to be anonymous. Some names have changed. No need to be anonymous. No need to be anonymous. Raquel, Eva, and I were walking in a mountain area on a road. We found a town and there was something off about it. This nice grandma tried to poison us and eat us. We escaped. We were running and ran to a strip mall where we found someone that we recognized. The old grandma was trying to turn us into fried chicken. I lost Raquel, then the dream switched, and Sophie, Tyler, me, and Austin were running from Hitler and his guards in this bean-shaped building. Austin wouldn't fit his head through the small opening that led to the roof, but he did. We slid down from roof to roof, and then jumped into the water. That's pretty cool. I probably would run from Hitler. Unless he was trying to give me a job, then I'd be like, yes sir, Mr. Hitler, but I would secretly be a good Nazi. Yeah, thank you. Me, A, and B are walking around a national park. I see this man climbing on a structure in the cliff in the distance. I want to be a part of whatever he's doing. I sneak over and start climbing on it. It's like a red rock tube tunnel off the side of a canyon cliff, and below is this deposit of water. In the middle of the lake below is a tall pillar of sandstone. I start breaking away the rocks, and it falls down. I panic, but quickly think to jump off the structure before it hits the water, so I don't sink down. I jump onto the pillar, and it starts to fall too. When I land in the water, I briefly see a whirlpool start to form, and things start getting sucked in. I'm swimming for my life away from the whirlpool. I reach the pillar, but the water is making the rock turn into mud and slowly disappear out from under me. I see the embankment next to me and make a leap for it, and then swim for my life. Again, finally pulling myself up onto it, I rest for a little bit and think about my options. There's a book bag and a suit coat in a plastic case, and they're beside me. Inside is 2 college beer shirts and a suit jacket. I see A and B up on top of the cliff. They've come to find me and call someone for help. I can't hear them. Then B comes down the stairs inside the cliff meant for staff and gets me. As I'm following him back along the desert ridge, this man comes and asks me to show him where I fell. He pushes me again and I have to reclimb the staff stairs. When I escape, the landscape changes to this Caribbean marina and I'm swimming through crystal clear water. A group of athletes in the water call me, and I swim to this girl from TikTok's seaplane. We are flown to the medical camp where I'm worked on and tell my story. My dad and some church people are there. I find B, and we embrace for a long time. Insane game of survival played yearly. A previous group of men win, and Jason Bateman, the actor, is the leader. It's all over the world. People are being chased by people who actually want to kill them. Starts with me and A on a bridge in Washington, but Washington is a foreign country like Iceland. I'm bouncing on the bridge, and it's nighttime, and we fall in and get separated. The truck boat is on the water, screaming for me to get out of the way. I make him crash, and he angrily chases me down. I escape and find A, and there's a flash to our married life. Then it switches to the next challenge, which is in Hungary, and we climb into these fields and realize we've been cornered. The group chases us until we sneak into some barbed wire, and the ringleader laughs and says, "Jimmy will deal with us." We think we've escaped, and we're walking through these European fields until I notice this town and surrounding hills is incredibly dark, but we're lit up. I realize the moon is just lighting us up like a spotlight, and that we're being put on showcase like an exhibit. I tell everyone we have to run, so we run for our lives, dodging attempted murderers. Then we get to this giant log cabin obstacle course, and we think we're trapped. But then I, Jason Bateman, realize we can escape through the holes in the wall. So we start running, and Kevin Bacon with knives starts chasing us and playing with our feelings. He slices me a little. I swing off the platform, and a guy from the previous stream is about to grab me, and Kevin Bacon is about to stab me, but I get a hold of his knife and stab him in the throat. He dies. I swing off the platform to the ground, and we win. We're the second annual champions again. We get to pick through different weapons and keep a pack of stickers. I'm reunited with family. We also get a bunch of money and to buy a cruise with a bounce house. One of the teams brings a woman from earlier in the game he fell in love with. Sometimes in beginning of Dream, I'm on a cruise with my family in Greece, and we get a reservation. The line of hundreds of people long. Our table weight number buzzes, and I go sit down with these random old ladies and start to drink Malibu from the bottle. Then I see my family seated elsewhere, and they wave me down. I go to them, and their Malibu is chunky. That's pretty cool. I'm in an airport on a secret mission. I had to run or else I would get blown up. Plane got hijacked by a secret remote society of Pacific Islanders. They have a lot of strange customs. Like if you were two sisters, you had to have a mom to live. If there was no mom, they killed the younger one. They killed my sister, who wasn't my actual sister. And then we were at their camp, and Eva, mom, and dad were there. Our one lady on the plane found bodies in the woods and came angrily stomping across the field to where I was, and one of the leaders who calmly said they crushed them up and put them into birdseed for the birds. The lady was screaming that everyone was going to find out about this. Furman had a grocery store downstairs, and my parents dropped me off and told me I could get whatever I wanted, so I was trying to find something from a different dream, but I couldn't find it. Whole dream was me walking up and down the aisles, having side conversations with some people. Oh, this one's a doozy. Alright, hold on. Oh, this talk of dreams is putting me to sleep. Another sip of cold coffee. Bitter. Me and Sophie were in a car talking about being lesbians for a day, and we got out at my house at night and heard wolves howling in the distance. For fun, we howled back together, and all of a sudden this big, black, snarling wolf jumped all over the concrete divider and tried to get us. We made it into the garage and slammed and locked the door on the wolf, but it was relentlessly slamming its body into the door. We ran inside for a weapon, but it broke through the door and then broke through the garage door. I was trying to tell Mom that she shouldn't come home, but she was already in the garage and had been attacked. She was down, and I pleaded with her. Hey.
What are you doing?
I'm recording something, and I'm reading a dream log. What are you doing?
Huh?
Yeah. You want to say hello?
Hi.
Yeah. You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Travis, Austin's brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good.
Yeah. You should project your voice a little bit more.
I don't want to fucking be awake.
It's 12:26, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Go shower.
Yeah.
I gotta keep doing this.
That's making me wake up.
Dad's making me wake up. Go fucking shower.
Fuck you.
Yeah, whatever, stinky.
Fuck you.
I love you, dude. Okay. I pleaded with her to come inside. We ran for a weapon, but it broke through the door. I was trying to tell my mom that she shouldn't come home, but she was already in the garage and had been attacked. She was down, and I pleaded with her to come inside. I was so angry I pulled the wolf's head apart with its snout and then slit its throat. I slit the throat of the other wolf that had attacked her. We went inside and locked the doors and said we had to fight. We looked outside, and a few people were gathering with a dozen wolves, teaching them how to fight and orchestrating a war. Gabby was there, so was one of Luke's friends who was anti-war. We all grabbed weapons and hid in the dark around the house and waited for them to come in. I told Eva she had to survive. I texted A, but couldn't get the keyboard to not be emojis. And I finally found my phone and said, if anything happens, just know I love you. Then I texted Ryan and asked him to come fight. I was waiting in my room and the first enemy came in. I stuck my weapon in its chest and the tip broke, but then I killed her. I changed my weapon to the Lord of the Rings sword, and the rest of the dream was fighting. Then morning came from the outside. It wasn't my house. It was this white southern-looking home with pillars on the porch. 2 henchmen came and said they'd be back and that we hadn't won. Then they took 2 of our own with them and disappeared. Last dream. There was a horrible hurricane and my family was at the top of this building sitting in plastic chairs facing the wall. 2 doors were on either side were wide open. Thunder, rain, and lightning happening everywhere. We were watching as buildings around us collapsed. A and her daughter, B, were helping shut down the building to be safe, and then the roof was blown off the building and the building started to tip. I didn't want to die. I was so scared, but my family and I held hands and said I love you to each other. My dad said to make peace with the Lord because we were going to die. I was so scared, and then I realized death was imminent while falling through the air, and made peace and relaxed, and then happened to fall into a pool. Luke had also fallen into a pool. Raquel was buried under the dirt, and we were trying to dig her out when I woke up. Dreams are crazy. I have really, really wild adventures sometimes. I'm also very surprised to hear that my gentle friend Mercy Fisher, who's probably like one of the more enigmatically peaceful individuals I've met in my life, has dreams of like actually killing things, because that's not really an energy that I would expect, but within the same right, I suppose I am pleasantly surprised. So this is a cool thing. I'm not going to rate your dreams. They seem, though, like... Well, there was something I was reading about how dreams are all, like, ultimately reflections of, like, past memories and other stimulus that we've consumed. So it's like a composite, almost, that, like, brings you meaning based off of, like, what the symbols you see mean to you. And I don't know, they don't make a lot of sense, but a lot of times I get messages in my dreams, and that's how I find quests in the real world that I have to do. So, just yesterday morning, I woke up, right before I woke up, I heard this voice in my head say that I had to go back to Nashua, which is my hometown in New Hampshire. I decided not to go because I don't really think that place has a lot it can offer me. But it was still kind of uncanny to just hear that as like a directive, I guess. So, this has been lovely. 1, 2, 3. This has been another really, really awesome episode of the A. Carlson Literary Review. I really like doing this. It feels like a good way to start my day. It kind of gets my mind moving, but I can't do this every day because I don't have enough good stuff to read. So, to fix that problem, I'm going to appeal to my viewership. Please, please, please send me what you have written, you are writing, or you are just having fun with. And I will be happy to talk about it to the internet. Because I like to do this. So, hour and 14 minutes. Wow. Good timing. Good timing. What a great thing to do with my day. You know, feeling good, feeling happy. Gonna work out in like a couple hours, you know. Gonna hang out, gonna have some fun. Yeah, hell yeah. I'm feeling good. Alright, well, thanks so much for taking the time. Thank you to the lovely Mercy Isabel Fisher for going out of her way to submit these obviously very, very detailed dream descriptions. And a big thank you to my anonymous donor for sending me such deep and truly heartfelt poems. And yeah, this has been fun. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.